Hello, welcome to our channel. It's 5 September 2025. I get the letters from the Lucis Trust on what's going on in September. So I'm showing my neighbor a letter from the Lucis Trust, and he says, "You get the letter from the devil." Yes, I do. I know what he's doing. I know what he's planning, and we broadcast it on this program to try and save lives. That's my goal. Stop anything that would lead to a full-scale firecracker exchange where planet Earth is turned into an unlivable desert, or worse, cracked in half. And I will use every resource that God has given me to do that, including crawling inside the enemy's camp. Anyway, on to the news. Job growth collapses as blue states rebel. They're on the verge of seceding from the Union. They are violating all kinds of federal laws, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Just a little bit about Macy's. They're getting millions of dollars from BlackRock to keep operational. They've gone woke, and nobody's buying anything. They've gone woke, and they're going to go broke. And job growth has collapsed, and Macy's may be laying a whole lot of people off. Anyway, a note from our advertiser. Daily cleanses on sale. Calm Tummy and Life Change Tea is on sale now. If I had kids in school, you bet I'd have Calm Tummy on hand, because this food that they're selling them is not real food. In fact, the Department of Defense, which is now the Department of War as of this morning, the Department of War is suing the states that are banning fake meat. Now, I had a Forever Burger at Burger King on post, which is the best Burger King around, but not anymore because they had to hire double minorities and they had to bring them in from off post. I had a Forever Burger thinking it was a big, thick burger. Made me sick. The meat we're getting in the grocery stores, a lot of it is fake or human. But anyway, Calm Tummy. And they're going to feed that to your kids at school. Fake cheese, fake flour, fake pepperoni, fake meat. And your child's going to come home sick like I did from a Forever Burger. And you're going to wonder why. Well, you're going to need Calm Tummy and Life Change Tea. And you're going to need to start packing your kids' lunch. Get a little personal responsibility. I think I was able to afford school lunch twice in all 4 years in high school. But when I was in 7th and 8th grade, I worked to set up the cafeteria and take the cafeteria down because I wanted to eat. We didn't have any food in the refrigerator, so I worked there, and they fed me every day, and I ate school lunch, and it was real cheese and real meat and real pizza and real food. Now it's all fake. It is not like when you went to school. It's fake food. It's sick. And the principals love it because it costs them less to serve fake food, and if they don't serve fake food, the Department of War will sue them. And you don't think a principal has any guts, do you? He's just another affirmative action employee. And the real jobs are out. The Department of Labor gal was fired, and the real jobs are coming out. The United States added 22,000 jobs to its payroll while it lost 222,000. The job growth, January, February, March, April, and May, and June, and July were negative. The United States economy is shrinking. Oh, we got a 3% growth rate. Yeah, we got a 15% inflation rate. That means we're losing 12% a year. And you see it in your taxes, especially in the blue states, where the CIA has complete control and seizes everything they can. Like the rail system. By the time it's done, it will be $600 billion for 95 miles of track because the CIA is taking your car registration fee and spending it to kill Russians. That's the way it is. Anyway, how do I know this? Because I talked with the directors of the CIA. You talk with these people, you understand what they're doing, and they don't care if the public knows. You have no power. You don't vote for anybody. Your vote is meaningless. Do you own any stock in Macy's? No. Then how can you vote for who's going to be the president of Macy's? Do you own any stock in the United States Corporation? No. Then how can you vote for who's going to be president of the United States Corporation? Do you own any stock in the state that you live in? I don't own stock in the state of Washington. Therefore, my vote for governor is meaningless. The Council of Five, the CIA appoints the governor. Right now in Washington State, we have a Nazi governor, National Socialist. They've implemented so many taxes, they've kicked people out. In our city, we've forced the bribes and fined so many businesses that they're now out of business. Nally's Chili left. Kiss my rear. Tacoma, Washington. The mill shut down because they were pumping billions of tons of toxic waste into the bay. So the Indians bought the mill and shut it down. The aluminum plant shut down. The city goes in and wants their bribes. The plants say, kiss my rear, and go to a state that's more business friendly. National Socialism, Nazism. When Trump took office, it was recommended that he arrest certain governors. He told God to go stuff it up his proverbial wahoo. And now they're ready to rebel. Shouldn't have told God to stuff it, Trump. And as of today, the Department of Defense is now the Department of War. We've taken away the wokeness. This means yellow-belly coward in Russia. Girly boy. It doesn't mean gay. It means girly boy. They don't have gays in Russia. They don't have the perverted food. They don't have the perverted media, although it's getting pretty bad in Russia. Their media is getting pretty rock and roll. Kiss God, kiss my rear, goodbye. They're no longer a godly nation. And a Biden judge blocked Trump from cutting U.S. aid to terrorists, which is a violation of United States Code 18. And Judge Amir Ali, I don't even know if he's a citizen. The demons appointed him as a judge. Democrats appointed him as a judge. You know, the guys who fought for slavery, the guys who opposed every civil rights act, the guys who opposed blacks from voting and women from voting. You know, those, the Democrats, the demons, the Democrats, who opposed all men are created equal, so they had slavery in the South, or they wouldn't join the Union. That's why the slave states joined the Union, because the North said, all right, keep your slaves, just join the Union and let's be free. Well, state after state after state was ending slavery when the Civil War was started. But when the Civil War started, boy, the Southerners rallied to support slavery. And when the war was over, slavery still existed in Washington, D.C., Maryland, and Rhode Island for another 7 years. Because those libtards wanted slavery. There were so many Democrats in those states. So slavery didn't end. In fact, slavery in Mississippi wasn't legally taken off the books till 1997. I know, I read the newspaper article in 1997. Mississippi pulled slavery. Those Democrats have held on to slavery for so long, and now they want to rebel. We'll talk about that in a minute. This judge wants to block everything Trump does, including supporting terrorists. And Amir Ali was not arrested for violating United States Code 18, for violating the code that strictly forbids government taxpayer money to go to terrorists. Why is Amir Ali not in jail? Because this is no arrest to Trump. And the Department of Defense, now the Department of War, has implemented worldwide censorship. If you live in Botswana, if you live in Afghanistan, if you live in Upper Russia, in Siberia, northern Siberia, and you have a computer, if you live at the tip of Argentina, or maybe you're on the Vanuatu Island, or maybe you're in Hangzhou, Japan, or maybe you're in Beijing, China, or Mongolia, outer Mongolia, you got electricity, you got a laptop. The Department of Defense has implemented AIs across the internet to censor people. FBI, you can leave YouTube now. You yellow bellies in the FBI don't have to be in YouTube censoring people. You little cowards hiding behind a computer desk can now leave YouTube, because the Department of War is now censoring anybody who opposes things like genocide. By the way, the Palestinians violated their treaty thousands of times, and Israel has every right to take that land back in accordance with the treaties signed between Palestine, Egypt, and Israel. And Egypt is required by treaty to take the Palestinians back. But who follows the treaty? Look at the Ukraine. In 1991, it was very clear in the treaty. Any state within the Ukraine that voted to rejoin Russia has that right. But after they discovered coltan in the eastern Ukraine, a couple months later, the United States went in and murdered tens of thousands of people and started a conflict, a war. And the people who started that war are not in jail. No arrest Trump. In fact, the people who started the war are getting double pensions. Start a war, get paid by the United States 2 pensions. Hey, what a deal. Maybe if I start a major conflict in, I don't know, maybe I'll do it in Rwanda. Oh no, we've already started a conflict in Rwanda for coltan. Where's the United States not got its nose? Maybe I'll start no, they're going against the people in Canada, Mexico, they're going against the people in Honduras. The United States went against the president of Ecuador, Peru, and Venezuela. Argentina. No, we started a conflict with Argentina. I can't think of anywhere I could start a conflict and get a double government pension. Oh well, you think I'm kidding. This ambassador knows a lot of these people. And in an internal email, it was revealed that Biden was not in the loop for signing all of those pardons. He didn't know about the pardons. He was kept out of the loop. The internal demons, the Democrats, sent emails back and forth. Don't tell Biden's double. Don't tell Biden. Don't tell Biden's double. Don't tell Biden. So he had no idea what was going on. But I promise you, no one who murdered or committed treason that Biden gave a pardon to will be arrested. This is no arrest Trump. And the war in the Ukraine is over. Putin made it very clear at the meeting over the weekend in China, with about 50 nations representing almost 2/3 of the world's population. He made it very clear that he was holding off on any major offensive in the Ukraine until Trump made a peace treaty, because Putin and Xi Jinping want that treaty signed in 1991 to be honored. The 4 provinces now, the 4 states in the Ukraine, like Ohio, New Jersey, well, we have Donetsk and Luhansk. Those states, 4 of them, voted to rejoin Russia. And the United States says, we don't have to follow no stinking treaty. So the United States has been pumping at least $3 trillion into the Ukraine, while Zelensky's stashing $10 million aside a month. Well, he's been there, 3 years? So he stashed well over almost $500 million aside for himself. He doesn't want the war to end. That came out in an internal memo from the prime minister to his staff. Zelensky's been stealing about $10 million a month. His directors have been stealing about $10 million a month. We authorize $1 billion for the Ukraine. Maybe 50 million gets there. And out of that 50 million, 30 million is stolen, and 10 million gets to weapons, and half those weapons are sold to the Mexican cartels. Why? Because that's the way arms dealing always works. It's just the way of the world. It's the way do you expect ungodly men to do godly things? Forget it. Anyway, so the war in the Ukraine, Putin finally said, enough is enough. He said, I've been waiting for this peace treaty. He said, Zelensky, you come to Moscow, we'll sign a peace treaty. Zelensky said, eat my shorts, God can stuff it up his proverbial wahoo. I don't listen to God, I don't listen to Trump, and I don't listen to you. And God can stuff it. That's what he said. Little gay boy dancing across the stage, playing the piano with his hoo-hoo. And everybody thought that was funny. Ukraine needs a humbling. So, Ukraine has been pummeled. Russia said is enough, and is advancing on all fronts. They said, if you don't make peace, Trump, I will. And I'll do it my way. In other words, we have 1.5 million troops. Now, Ukraine has been getting 20,000 recruits a month, but 20,000 recruits a month have been walking off the battlefield. So out of the 500,000 men, they've been losing 40,000 dead a month. So you take 500,000 and you start subtracting 40,000 dead men every month. And what do you get in a few months? Russia pushes here, they move all the men here. Russia pushes here, they move all the men there. Russia pushes here, they move all the men there. Then they push here, and there's no men up there to stop them. Russia is ready to have massive advances if the United States stops using its targeting system to target Russia. By the way, under the laws of war, a neutral nation is not allowed to use their electronics to aid the enemy. In other words, the United States is not a neutral nation according to the laws of war. And I could read it for you. I could go get the book and read the law. The United States has provided GPS targeting systems to the Ukraine, which makes it a combatant in the war. That's the law of war. Now, Putin's been pretty restrained because he hasn't blown up New York City. That's pretty much restraint, because the U.S. using its targeting system makes it an act of war. And the Department of Defense will censor me because I'm quoting their own regulations, such as using mustard gas on Fort Lewis to treat cancer on our soldiers on military land is punishable by death. And by quoting their Department of Defense regulations, they'll censor me. That's in the law of land warfare. We've shown you that before. So we'll be censored by the Department of War. Anyway, so Putin says enough. I'm going to end it my way. And finally, there was a hearing on Capitol Hill with RFK, who has not been able to remove the fluoride, the dissolved bodies, and the toxins they're putting in our water here in Tacoma, the highest crime rate in the nation. They've not been able to eliminate the fluoride and toxins from our water, which is making people go crazy. Wackadoodle. Cattywampus in the brain. So the Democrats unleashed a barrage against him, and he just looked at him like he told Pocahontas, you took $850 or $755,000 from the big pharma company. Of course you want the kids to get vaccinated and every other drug in the world. Congress has been paid off to push drugs. We talked about that yesterday. The American Medical Association is supported by the congressmen and the election campaigns that are supported by Big Pharma through BlackRock. CIA, Larry Fink, the Jew. Only he's not Jewish, he's a Satanist. He does the human you-know-what every month. So the blue states have said, we're just gonna do this to the kids at age 0 and 1 and 2 and 3, and who cares if 1 in 30 kids are autistic? Who cares if we destroy the lives of most parents? We don't care. Give us the money. Give us the money. Now, Trump was told which governors to arrest when he took office by God, but he told God to stuff it. So we're going to see what happens. That door's still open, Donald Trump. But I don't think you're man enough to listen to God. I think you're man enough only to listen to your masters. That's my opinion, because you're not doing what God asked you to do, are you? You're telling God to stuff it up his wahoo. He'll only take so much of that crap, Trump. And then he's spitting back. That's why nobody's listening to you. That's why the governors are rebelling, because you thought you'd do it your way instead of God's way. So now we have 28 states ready to leave the Union so they can destroy children's lives and kill them and murder them and give illegal aliens federal money and federal housing. And you haven't cut them off. They're still getting federal money. I have a friend, and speaking of food stamps, I have a friend who wasn't born here. Because she's not white, she goes up to the casino and gets $600 a month in food stamps. And she puts it in and gambles. You don't even have those handle things anymore. It's all computerized. I went to the casino once, had a pop, and watched these people just blow their food stamps. Hundreds of millions of dollars of food stamps go into the casinos. And they want that to continue, and they will pay the politicians whatever it takes to keep that money coming in. Because that's how a business survives, bribery. And they'll take your taxpayer money, the Indian casinos, and pay your politicians to keep those food stamps coming into the casinos using your money, your taxpayer dollars. And Trump hasn't ended that. It's been 200 days. Stop food stamps. That's not a hard thing to do. You take your pen in the new budget, and after Congress signs it, you line item it out. And it's done. Over. Through. But I don't think you have the guts, Donald Trump. You certainly don't have the guts to do what God says. You don't have the guts to tell Hegseth to order the 55th and 60th Air Wing from spraying us, killing more Americans. And you don't have the guts to shut NASA down from using HAARP to destroy our ozone. So what makes me think you're going to cross out the ability of people to use food stamps at the casino? Put $1,000 here, $1,000 on the table that says on the 1st of October, our friends will go up to the casino and use their food stamps to gamble. $1,000 on the table that says your taxpayer monies will go to the Indian casinos, that Trump won't line item the item out. Pray that he begins to listen to God, because that's the only way he's going to fix this country. An ungodly man cannot fix a nation. God bless. Thank you very much. We appreciate each and every one of you, and we'll see you tomorrow.